here. All right. I think it's live. I'm trying to load this on my phone because I don't have my other laptop in here, so it's how I read the comments. And I think if the audio is really quiet, let me know. Let me see if I can adjust this. I recorded something earlier, and when I watched it back, it was so quiet. So I apologize here. Let me check and see if I can figure it out. All right. Let's see here. Got my phone hooked up over here so I can see comments in the chat and so forth. Let me see here. I feel like I can see the audio on my screen here, and it looks like it's not very loud. Yeah, thank you. I'm trying to fix it right now. Let me see if I can figure this out. Let's see. Audio input. Let's see. I have an actual microphone, but I don't know if I have an extra USB to control it. Hang on a second. Let me. Hang on. Experimenting here. Let me see. Okay. Let's see. Device. Like audio. Okay. Wow, that looks louder. Now it looks like the other one is very loud. Is this? Let me see here. I can hear myself in this. Let me see if I can. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Sorry for the delay. I realized that it was weird earlier when I logged back in just now. Wow, much louder. How's that? It's too loud? A little bit, almost. Okay, we're going with this. Hopefully this is good enough. Let me, yeah. I do have an actual good microphone, but I have like one of those USB hubs I can plug everything into, and I don't know where I put it. I moved all my stuff out of my room downstairs when I was putting in the wall thing back there, and when I moved it back, I don't know where I put all the stuff that was on I'm actually, I think I said this the other day, my desk where I usually sit is actually like 3 feet behind my computer now, and I'm just on this little table in the middle of the room. So partially because the top of this, my cool backdrop, is not quite done. So the ceiling has it goes up and then it returns on the ceiling like this. That's not painted at all. And then there's like off the screen just over this way, there's another 2 feet that aren't finished. And the whole wall is probably going to get repainted eventually. It's just I did a really quickie paint job so I could, have it up. Now, anyway, let's get to flying some drone action here. Today was a freaking weird ass day. Let me see. Sorry, I set the timer to go for 8:15 and I was not paying attention. And when it popped up, I was like, oh my god, it's time! It's time to go live. And if I set it a little early, it's nice because it makes me, mentally accountable. Did I just open the Velocidrone? All right, the drone simulator is opening. I feel like my light's really bright too. I did, let's see. Whoa, that's really dark. Okay, I need a little bit of light here. I want some light, but I don't want to blind myself while I try to do this. That's better. Okay, that doesn't feel like my face is just white, hot mess. All right, let's see here. I'm going to do drone for, I might not even do a full hour on the drone because I have a bunch of ZBrush stuff I want to do tonight. And I'm trying to learn, the audio, hang on a second, sorry. Audio is coming out of my computer. And it's playing over the thing here. Hang on, sorry guys. And, boop, beep, boop, bop. Okay, all right, there we go. Headphones on. We're not going to listen to them. I'm just going to talk. Just going to chat. The preparedness level is low. All right, so turn on the controller. Welcome to Edge TX. All right, now we plug it into the correct one this time. Hopefully, don't crash out again. And all right, looks good. Okay, so make sure the drone simulator is all loaded up. It looks like it is. Sorry. All right, hold on a second. I gotta, because of this OBS studio, I gotta make sure I have the same audio input capture running, which is, what is this one called? Realtek. All right. So once it's loaded here, I can copy this. Can I copy this? I usually can add it on. I'll have it back in a second. I just have to remember how to copy this thing over. The what is this one called? Audio input capture, right? Microphone, Realtek, cool. Okay, cancel that. Now it's gonna be out for 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay. I think last time I did it. All right, Kevin, love the droids in the background. Thank you very much. Hopefully, you guys can hear me okay now. Um, it's a little freaking frantic today. It was weird as hell. I'll tell you guys all about it because a little bit of an emotional roller coaster, that is for sure. All right, we're gonna go back to just see what kind of crazy things they've added here. I don't know why some of these have green check marks. Bando Mall. Let's check it out. I don't know what this is. I think I checked this one before, maybe. Oh my God, look at this. So, this was last time we were talking on Sunday. Wow, this one's kind of cool. Oh yeah, I came here before because I remember thinking like this was pretty. It looked like Mall of America. It was like 50 stories high, or at least 5 stories high. The Sunday, was it Sunday? I got this message that a friend of mine had passed away. Basically, the message said, our friend Sam Macaroni, if you look him up, he's like a director. I've done tons of stuff with him over the years. Got this message that he had passed away. Basically, the message was that he had this crazy stroke. Oh yeah, it's this level. This crazy stroke or he had an aneurysm that caused a stroke, and then he was on life support for 3 weeks. And then I got a message Sunday morning, early, like 7 in the morning, from our mutual friend Tim, that they took him off life support. And he's like, I'm gutted, all this stuff. So I was like, holy shit. So I'm under the impression he died. I think my friend was under the impression that he died. Well, I go through all the stuff. I made a post on Facebook about the whole thing. It was pretty crazy. And then yesterday, I worked on a show called SWAT. I don't know what season they're on now. It's like literally the same guys I saw like 3 or 4 years ago when I worked the show. Were the same like main characters. But I was just doing background work, and I was just waiting in like the holding area, and I get a text from another friend of ours, this guy Derek, and he's like, "Sam didn't die. Sam is alive." Kind of like he's basically in hospice. They took him off life support, but he's alive. He's breathing on his own, but he's like induced coma. Probably not going to make it still, but he's like technically alive still, which is really weird. So I was like, look, this is crazy. So this morning, I got up and I drove into town and went to the hospital and I like hung out with Sam, who was like, basically unresponsive, which is very strange. And then, yeah, it was crazy. So basically unresponsive. I talked to him some, but I swear when we were talking, I could see his eyes moving under his eyelids. And I was probably there for about 2 hours, and like this other guy Lawrence was there, who's like uh, been one of his editors for a while and worked on a couple films with him. And freaking Troy Duffy was there. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Boondock Saints. That's like the guy that did Boondock Saints. He was there when I got there, which is weird. And Sam Macaroni is very, very good friends with Steve-O from Jackass, which is how I met a lot of the Jackass guys like Preston Lacey and um, all those dudes. So Sam is super good friends with those guys. Um, so anyway, Sam is really cool. Gave me a lot of cool opportunities. It's very weird. So it's the crazy thing is like he's there. He's right there. It looks like he's sleeping, but he's probably not gonna make it after through this whole thing. So it's real weird. Like it's a weird, really weird feeling because I went through this whole emotional kind of roller coaster on Sunday, and then thinking about it a bunch over the last few days, and then it's like, oh, by the way, he's still here, but kind of not. And so part of my brain is hoping like something crazy will happen and he'll pull through it, but it's like I don't know, it's a bit much. The whole thing was weird. So sorry if I'm like a little bit of a weird mood. I feel like I was in the same mood the other day, but it was weirder. But at least I got to kind of like go say bye to him, and I might go back up there and see him again if he's still with us in a few days. I don't know. So yeah, very weird day. Very, very weird day. Um, so anyway, felt pretty unproductive most of the day because of that, and I'm kind of feeling like I'm getting a groove on, and I ended up doing some research on some like Gaussian splatting, which is a way I could make 3D models from videos I have. And I have some really good videos of some of the stuff from the archives that I want to work on that I have measurements and stuff for as well. But I'm like, I have video of this. If I can convert this video into a 3D model, it's almost like having a scan. So if anything, it'll give me like a really, really, really good, accurate base to start with for some of the stuff. Like this, particularly for Forlom, it's one of the ones that I've started. But if I can convert one of these videos into a scan, almost, that would be really good. I still need like a bunch of detail work, I'm sure, but we'll see. So, dude, that's an emotional roller coaster. I'm sorry, man. Yeah, it's super weird. I appreciate that, man. It's like a weird day. I was there and like some of his like super old like one of his really old girlfriends that he used to live with came in, and then one of his best friends from the time he was like 12 came in. Very weird. But if you it's like Sam Macaroni, you can see all this stuff because we worked on tons and tons of things. Um, and he actually brought me out. One of my first like gigs in California was something that he brought me out for when I still lived in Florida. I met him in like 2013, and my friend Michael McMaster, who I've been friends with for a long time, the first time we like really hung out together was from Sam Macaroni, because he hired both of us to do kind of like a Star Wars parody thing, um, like what they were doing in Vegas, like last weekend or whatever. So yeah, that was weird. And then I got home today, and then I just kind of was like, I just need to take a nap. And I took a long, long nap. I take a nap every day, but like 15 minutes. I set a timer. I take a 15-minute nap almost every day. I've done it for years. I love it. And it's kind of like my break. About 1 in the afternoon, 15-minute nap, and then I feel like totally reset and ready to jam. And today's was not like that. I was crashed out for like 90 minutes, which I never do. And I was like, oh, God, all right, let me get going here. Then we had to, send in our taxes and stuff. So we had to have our accountant guy, had to like call up and ask questions. And then, figure out all that fun tax season stuff. I did that. And then, yeah, I've been kind of hanging out, trying to do some tutorials on Gaussian splatting, because if I can get that to work, we'll have very, very good Forlom models, very accurate, because I got tons of measurements. So even if the scan is the wrong size, I can scale it basically perfectly to get it lined up. And then really, really good 4-line model on the way. So yeah, so anyway, that'll be cool. Oop, oop, oop. Oh God, crashed into the pipe. But yeah, so anyway, that was my day. That was it. And then yesterday, like I said, I worked on that show SWAT, which I don't know who watches that. I worked on it a few years ago, and that day was kind of like featured background. It was sort of ridiculous, and I was basically a paralegal, and my scene, I was like going out to the car, and there's in the show, there's a bomb in the car or something, and they come out, and all the SWAT guys are going through the parking lot trying to find which car has the explosives, and oh, there's a hole there. I could have just flown through the fence. Find out which car has the explosives, and I'm just like in the parking lot, and they basically point their weapons at me, and I am like, oh. And it was ridiculous because they made me do an audition. I don't know if I talked about this the other day, but they had a bunch of people audition for that part, even though that's all it was just like act scared and super easy. But it was during COVID, so they were doing all the auditions on Zoom, and I get in there, and a lot of the Zoom auditions, they would have these breakout rooms. So you'd be in like the main Zoom room, and then they would like switch you to a breakout room so you could be there with like the director and like the casting people or whatever. And they couldn't figure out how to get the stupid breakout rooms to work. So I so they basically had me audition in front of the other people that were auditioning, so I could see all the other people there, which is very awkward. But I got the part, which was good, but it was really stupid, small. Like anybody could have done it. Was not special. That whole audition thing took about, I don't know. I got in, was in there for a second. They gave me some instructions, and then I like did 2 takes of it, and like, okay, thanks, and then that was it. And then they called me later and like, okay, you got it, and that was it. Super easy. But I think probably the reason I got it is that like everybody else that showed up just like was wearing t-shirts and stuff, and I knew it was a paralegal thing, so I put on a suit, got all dressed nice like I was a paralegal, and then did the scene, and that was it. But anyway, the day I worked the show, the night before, the casting place wrote me, and they're like, yeah, what kind of car do you have? And I told them the model and the year, the color, and they, cool. And then the next day, I got my call time and all the stuff, and I drove out, but I took my other car. I took my little white Mazda Miata, and I didn't take the silver Mazda 3, so I didn't realize they wanted to book my car. They asked me, but I didn't see a confirmation that they wanted it, so I just didn't bring that car. Didn't even think about it. The Miata had more gas in it, so I just took the Miata. And I got there, and like a few hours into it, like that was my time to shine, I guess. And I come out, and then the assistant director, first AD, was like, "Where's your car?" And I pointed to my Miata, and it's like, "You didn't bring your other car?" He has this crazy voice, and I was like, "No." And then he goes, "You were supposed to bring your car," and got really pissed off at me, and I was like, "Oh man." And everything was fine. They had another silver car in the parking lot. Everything worked out just fine. But they wrote the part around a silver car because I had a silver car, and I didn't bring the silver car. So anyway, that was great. And then that same guy was there yesterday, but I don't think he remembered me. If he did, I couldn't tell. So he's still working on that show. I don't know how many seasons in it is. It's kind of funny, like the main guys that are supposed to be these SWAT guys are like real fit, kind of the dudes that are sort of too good looking to really have that job kind of thing. And they both were smokers. It was kind of crazy. Like I go out and they're and nothing against that if you want to be a smoker or whatever, but they look like real healthy guys, like they wouldn't be smokers, and I'm like, oh, they're out there smoking, and I wonder if they do it so that they get a gruffer, cooler voice, you know? I really, really wonder that, because neither one of them look like the types of dudes that would smoke. Let's see here. Had to step away. Sorry for the rough day. Hopefully all the days will get better. Yeah, it'll be better. It'll be better. Sorry, I just missed. I just saw that message. Just a little bit slow there. But yeah. So anyway, halfway through the day, I get this message. Hey, your friend that died on Sunday didn't actually die, but he's basically not gonna make it. So if you want to visit him, you can go to visit him in the hospital. So that was great. And hospitals are weird. Last time I was like in the hospital was when I had all my surgeries. I was in there a couple times, and the room looked very much like the room that I was in when I was there, which was like flashback time. They also have these like crazy hospital blankets that I love, and my wife hates them. She's like, they're scratchy, they're not comfortable, but I feel like they're like the perfect weight and thickness, and like they're cool enough that I never feel too hot, but they're warm enough that I don't feel too cold. It's a freaking good combo. And they had one there today, and it was at the foot of the bed. And my friend is like completely unresponsive. And I was like, I wonder if you'll want this blanket. Should I take this blanket? Is that, I mean, then he can't like tell him if he's cold or hot or anything. He's just sort of like there. So, but I didn't take the blanket. That would have been wrong, just in case. In case he snaps to and wakes up. He's like, I want that blue blanket put on me. That would have been awesome. Alright. I feel like I'm getting better at this flying thing. This board's also really big, and it lets me fly around it's pretty forgiving because there's a lot of space for the drone to make it through these little areas without me hitting things. Wow, look at that. I'm with you on the blankets. Yeah, dude, I love those things. But yeah, I've got one, and my wife hides it from me. I swear to God, she hides it from me. It's like I'm like, where's my blue blanket? She goes, I don't know. And I'll find it. It'll be like in some Rubbermaid storage bin, like put really far away where I can never get to it. I'm like, I want my blanket. But the hospital things. Both the times I was in the hospital, I don't know what temperature they had that room, but it was perfect. It was so perfect. It was like I could lay there with a blanket, my hospital blanket, and be totally comfortable. Or if I had it off and just was laying there with like no blanket, totally comfortable. I'm like, what air temperature is this? Because I've never been so comfortable just sitting around. It's pretty crazy. Also, I've had like a case of the tennis elbow for months, and it just sucks. Like it's hard to pick things up in certain ways, and um, I felt like I'm like not getting enough exercise. I started doing push-ups again, which I usually do for about 6 months a year, and then my arms start to get just a little too big, and I mean my arms are still skinny, but they get just a little bit too much where they almost don't fit in the 3PO costume, and then I have to take a break from doing the push-ups for like so literally almost every 6 months I go through like a phase where I just do push-ups every day, and then I take a break, and it's specifically because of 3PO's arms. But I haven't done them in a while, and I was like, man, I should start doing them again. If I can do them, they don't hurt my arm to do the push-ups, but I can't do a lot of other exercises because of the stupid tennis elbow. But I started doing push-ups, and like 3 days later, my tennis elbow is almost gone. It's like 80% better. It's amazing. So that was cool. Give me a blue blanket. No kidding, dude. That's just the best. Did you sort out getting your props back from Sam's office? Not yet, man. I gotta like, I just don't know the whole deal, man. It's like, um, I don't know. I feel like I'll talk to Tim, and then I saw his friend Troy was there today, and I feel like they're very close with him. So if I reach out to one of those guys, they'll probably hook me up with the right people. I think I was saying the other day how I left a message at Lionsgate, where he's working at Lionsgate Films, and he has his office there, and the stuff that's there. So let me give you a rundown. I have one of those like IG-88 canisters, and the one that's there isn't actually one that I made. It's one that my friend Scott Will made, and it's the same ones. If you go to Galaxy's Edge, there are some IG-88 like broken down IG-88s kicking around. There's like 4 or 5 of them around the parks in both Florida and Anaheim, and he made those. And the canisters on the top, he makes those. And I years ago, before I moved, I got a copy of them like right before I moved out. And that one is at Sam's office, along with one of my RA7 heads that was made into a costume head. Which, if you saw the Star Wars Theory Darth Vader short film that he did, Shards of the Past or whatever it's called, I was the RA7 droid in that, and that helmet is the one that's at Sam's office. It's been repainted since then, but it's the same one, and that's there. I have a full Stormtrooper costume that I made, everything but the helmet. I did vacuum formed all the parts and did all that stuff years ago, and I had it done up like a sand trooper, and I don't have the backpack on it there, but I had the pauldron, the full costume, and had it on one of my mannequins. And the thing is, my mannequins, like, I had 2 mannequins that wouldn't quite fit right, so I kind of combined them for his office, because he was just like, oh, I need something to display, and I was like, I'll get you something more permanent, but you can put these things in your office for now. And the mannequin that fit the torso, the legs didn't work right, but the ones that legs work right didn't fit the torso. So I took 2 separate mannequins and I like duct taped them together for his display. So now I have 2 mannequins here, 2 halves of a mannequin that don't go together, and the other 2 halves are at his office with my Stormtrooper costume. I also, what else did I lend him? An Iron Man helmet that I made back in like 2011 or something, 2012. I don't remember. I made like a Pepakura, those paper builds. Did it all fiberglass and bonded it, and then I molded it and I made some copies, and it's one of my copies of that, which is cool. I can make them a lot better now, but for the time I was pretty proud of it. So one of those is there. I feel like he's got a couple other things too. I gotta remember what I brought, but yes, a whole bunch of stuff is out there. So, and as I was setting it up, multiple people stopped by and were like eyeballing, like, "Wow, that's really cool." And all I picture is like, "Wow, who's gonna go through his office and snatch things?" He had some like screen used props from like Mad Men and some other stuff too on display in that room. It's pretty cool. Sam is a cool guy. It'd be really awesome if something clicks through and he like kicks out of this thing, but I don't know if he is off life support, which literally means they're not like giving him any nutrients or anything. He's on an IV drip, and we asked the nurse about it. I guess it's just to like keep him, keep his veins available, because they have him on some painkillers and stuff while he's in there, just make sure he's comfortable. But it's, from the sounds of it, he's not gonna be like pull through. So do I make a Vader kit even though I'm only 5'9"? Could just put some insane lifts on the boost. Yes, I would do that. So my friend William Miyamoto, he made a Vader, and he did that. He just wears these huge lifts. And what's great, and the thing is, like, a lot of the time, people are looking at your face and your chest. They don't look at the shoes too much. I feel like that's the same with my 3PO. I've just got away with wearing these like crappy shoes for so long, instead of my good my screen use looking feet. I think I got one of those around here too. But there's a helicopter right outside my house. I bet there's something exciting going on. Can you hear that? It's just flying in circles. Holy shit! All right, guys, I'm gonna be back in 1 second. Hang here for a second. I'm gonna peek outside real quick and see if there's some criminals by my house. Hold, please. Talk amongst yourself. I'll be back. All right, guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Oh, all right. Let's see. Thanks for hanging out for a minute. Sorry about the delay there. Um, Basically, the helicopter's flying. That's looking like maybe 4 blocks over. It's looking at something. It's got the light shining down. It's just flying in a circle. So every time it does a loop over here, it comes like right over my house. So hopefully everything's okay. These criminals are everywhere. All right, let's see what we have here. Bando theme park. We saw that one. McFly Whoop. Let's try it. Let's try it. Making suits and making an R2. What about you, Kevin? Making animatronic pit droids. Oh, that's cool. Oh my god, where am I? Oh, here we go. I put start on here. I was going to do it like a race. Oh, it's this one. Golly. Alright, this is boring. Animatronic pit droid sounds fun. So, I don't know if I told you guys, I'm sure I brought it up the other day, but I've been printing out the 8D8 droid that Dave Moog did, and I've got the feet, the shins, and right now I'm printing all the like secondary kind of pistons for the legs. One batch is almost done. I have to run another batch probably overnight, and then thighs, shorts, and I'm just doing them on one printer, just kind of make and do. I'm not trying to rush through it or anything, but it's basically like where the track is here. Helicopter. Sorry about that. Um, but I think I'm going to remodel the 8D8 droid. I'm going to probably do my own version of it because Dave's is really good. It looks great. Like it's great, but I don't know exactly where he got his leg reference from. It's not that it's right or wrong. They look really good. Oh, sirens. Hear that? Ooh, it's getting serious. Wow. So sorry about that. The legs look great. Everything looks great. He did a good job modeling it, but the head's a little too narrow. I feel like his reference photo was probably from um, a, a little bit wider lens, too close to the actual prop, because it's been on display before at the Star Wars Identities exhibit for a long time. So there's a lot of photos of the display version online. But when it was on display, it has no legs on it. It's just like a pole holding up the torso and the shorts and the head and the arms. And there's basically no legs or feet or anything. And somewhere I've got photos, behind the scenes photos of that one, and there's another droid that has a real similar build, and I think it's got the same kind of legs, and it's got like a kind of like a weird bug head. And I just got to go through and see those and see if which one's which. And the Star Wars, the blueprint book has like the blueprint version of that droid, which is like the head is a little different, but a lot of it's the same. And I got to see if it's got measurements, and I'm going to use that for my reference. I think I'm just going to remodel the whole thing. But I like the scale that Dave Moog did a lot, but I want to make the head a little bit more accurate. And then his isn't very posable, so a lot of the pieces are combined. So it's kind of static, like it's going to stand in one position. I can't bend the legs. I don't know how articulated the arms are. The claw hands on the real one are like probably each claw is probably like 6 or 7 pieces, and on his he combined them all and made it printable. It looks good, but I want to actually just make it the parts. I feel it'll look better in the end. So anyway, I'll probably end up redoing it, but I'm still going to build out the whole droid that he did, and then maybe I'll get it all finished out and stuff so it looks cool, and then it'll be here for until I sell it or something if somebody wants to buy it. But yeah, anyway, he's a good modeler. That Chewy on stilts would scare me in crowds. Let me see, I missed that. Da, 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 da. Vaders are crazy expensive, and Chewy on stilts would scare me in crowds. So, I've the Chewy on stilts. I bought my drywall stilts that I own. I bought to do a Chewbacca, and I have yet to do it. I bought all of this hair, this Kanekalon, like I got I think a pretty good color combination for it, and I bought the fabric. Like these people use this like this mesh kind of like net fabric to loop the hair on. I would say almost every builder, oops, almost every builder that I've seen make a Chewbacca gives them way too much hair. So much, it's so crazy looking, um, and I think the stilts are maybe a little bit sketchy, but they're not too bad. Not too bad to walk in, and you get used to them. I actually, what's crazy is I used them at my house when I moved in here, like scraping popcorn off the ceilings and stuff in all these rooms. I used my Chewbacca stilts all over the place while I was working in here, which is what they're for, doing drywall stuff. But I ended up using them for that. And when I was at my old place, I did some penguin feet. They're like foam, cast foam feet for like a mascot character. I 3D printed the molds and they came out really good. But I had to make like 10 sets to get a set that really was perfect. Because they had to be like really perfect, and the color had to be uniform throughout, so that if you beat them up, they'd always kind of be the same color. And I was having a really hard time because I was trying to do two different foams. I was trying to do like a skin of one type of foam and then fill it with another type of foam that was lighter. And I just could not, for the life of me, get it to work right. I had it so close, multiple times. It just wouldn't work. So I have all these extra birds, like these big, they look like big bird feet. So I stuck them on my stilts just randomly for fun. And the whole time I was working on my house, I had those big bird feet on there, those giant penguin feet. But the Jazzwares Vader suit for 1K is really tempting, especially if you're going, not going for clearance. People can't tell. Dude, that's the thing. Is like I saw that suit is really impressive. It's really impressive. Honestly, even the crappy Ruby's Vader costume, if you gave it a little bit of like paint and TLC, it's very good. Like 99% of people are not going to know that there's anything wrong. Like a Vader enthusiast could pick it out, but most people couldn't. I was very impressed with those, and they were very cheap. And I found a Vader bodysuit for a good price. I can sew all the capes and tunics myself. I can 3D print everything else. It's mostly the boots that would be a lot of money. Um, Yeah, and you can. The thing is, you can find boots that are close enough because they got like the big shin guard on the front. So if you find boots that are like close, especially if you're gonna put like put the giant lifts on them, um, it's like you could definitely cheat it. Now the thing is, when you have the lifted boots, you just got to keep people's attention up to your face so they're not looking down. And when your hands, if your arms are shorter than David Prowse, if you got to figure out the poses that read well so that you don't expose that your arms are too short. That's the same. That's the main thing with the Chewy suit for me, was like figuring out the cheats that I wanted to do, so that I wanted to cheat the knees, because now that I'm on stilts, my knees are going to be in a weird spot. So I was going to make these pads that went over my upper legs and like extended down just to make my kneecap lower. So when I walked, there's going to be a little extra fabric on the legs. It'd be hard to see it unless you were looking from the right angles, but it would fake like my kneecap was in the right spot. So like the knees would kind of look, the legs look right. And then I was going to do arm extensions, just a little bit, just to kind of, make it look a little closer. I think that's the one thing, because there's a couple people that have pretty good Chewy suits that are like my height. I'm 5'10", and they've got, they look awesome, but if they move their arms the wrong way, their arms look so short. I use East German boots, work great and not too pricey. See, that's a good thing, and you can find some freaking pretty cheap boots that are close enough. Again, and if you're to the point where you're modding the if you're modding the whole thing so much just to add height and everything, then the boots aren't going to be quite as important if they're super screen accurate. As long as you get black boots that are close, you can hide them. I wonder if you could cheat the boot in a way where you can fit your whole foot inside the boot and put the armor down the front and then put, you know what I mean? So the whole boot is deeper, but you wouldn't notice it so much unless you were like from the profile. I wonder if you could do that. This is just me thinking out loud. If I was trying to cheat it, how would I do it the best I could? And that might be a way, but I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty good. I've got a Vader helmet here, and I've got a mold for another Vader helmet. Oh, geez. Oh, I missed that loot. But Vader is another one. I always wanted Vader, always wanted a Chewie, and always wanted a 3PO. And all the other droids. I just love all the droids. Obviously, I feel like I'm trying to just do so many, and I did the EV99 for Disney, and for the what's it called, for Galaxy's Edge. I never made one for myself, and I was pretty stoked on it. Like when I made it, it was very cool. I was like, okay, I really would like to keep one of these, and I always intended on making one for me, and I just haven't. So that's another one that's really high up on my Patreon list, and I don't know if I should just wait till the whole thing's done or if I should, you know, start it and then as I'm making the pieces, you know, put the parts out with like a caveat that hey, shit is not done. You know, the final version may be a little different, but then people could start on it if they want to. With you know, they could build it along with me. And I ordered some more filament today for my printer because when I did that thing for Corridor Digital last week, was that just last week? I feel like it was like 3 weeks ago. I used up all of my, not all of it, but I used a lot of my filament, so I had to go buy more. And I've been printing all that stuff in PETG now, so that I bought a bunch. And I just had to dial my settings a little bit because I really like PETG a lot. I like it a lot. It's really, really sturdy, and it has like just the right amount of it has the right amount of give to make it just a little forgiving if you drop it or something. Like PLA is super strong, but you know, it's more sensitive to heat. ABS is nice, but it's like real strong, but it doesn't have any flex. It can snap it easy if you do something. So I don't like, and it's a pain to print. But the PETG, pretty easy to print. Not the easiest, but pretty good. So I always liked it. This, I don't know if you guys can see, but what's her name? 83. My droid that I played, I can't remember the name. That suit is mostly PETG. I'm trying to think if I didn't use it. What else I used? I think it's mostly PETG. Yeah. The neck is PETG, and it's just like I did that neck super last minute because I was gonna do a foam fabricated neck, but I could not get a foam that was quite thin enough, and the head is really fitted around the neck. Like there's not a lot of room. Tolerances are really small, so when I would do the foam neck, it would fit me, but then I couldn't fit it under the helmet, and I was kind of like in a panic mode. And very last minute, I was like, well, I'm just gonna take my scan that I've been modeling the droid over, and I selected my neck, like masked it, and you can do basically extrude out what do you call it? I can't remember the feature, but there's basically you can like produce a piece of geometry off of the masked area, and I did that, and then I sculpted a little bit of detail on it, and then printed it, and I just printed it as one piece, and then I cut the back with a Dremel real quick, right? And the PETG has that flex. I popped it on, and it worked. So I just printed an extra one, which is kind of crazy. I printed it and I threw it in the back of my car in case in case it broke or something on set and I had to do an emergency, like just something to put on. And that print is still in the back of my freaking trunk. I've never taken it out of my trunk since 2019. That's how long it's been since I've cleared the stuff out of my Miata trunk. I've actually taken most of the stuff out of there. It's just for some reason, like I'll carry stuff in, and I'll have my hands full, and it'll stay in there, and then I forget, and then like 8 months later, I'm going there for something. I don't drive that car very often, and when I do, I very rarely have to go in the trunk for anything. So every time I go in there, I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta take this inside. But I'm always, out somewhere. And then I get home and I carry in all the groceries or whatever I bought that I put in the trunk. I carry them in, and I start talking to my wife, and then forget that I'm supposed to uh, bring everything inside. My destroyed parts that are still in there. Oh my God, it's still flying. Um, yeah, I like PETG a lot. And years ago, somewhere on my YouTube channel, I have the videos where I made this brake adapter for my brake calipers on my bike, and the plan has always been to make it out of aluminum. It's still the plan, but you know me, I have too many projects. But I 3D printed one to make sure that all the dimensions were correct and everything was going to work. And then I put it on my bike, installed the pieces, and then I rode around with it just to see. And guess what? It was insanely sturdy. It has not broken. I'm talking put major forces on this thing, and it didn't break. It just worked as a 3D print. And you picture I probably weigh about 140 pounds, and the weight of my bike, another 40 pounds, plus the leverage of the wheel, which is, like a, I don't know, over a foot of leverage, with all that weight pushing on this little bracket. And that bracket that's 3D printed never broke. Totally held up. Written it all over the place. It's crazy. I want to do a recognizable character kit that I can put on myself rather than just one-piece shorts. 3PO, after the shorts are on, handler is required. So, that is, I don't know if I'm sure you heard me talk about it, but do you know Cameron? He's in Australia. He's, his Instagram, like Droid Protocol or something. He did a 4-lom, completely foam fabbed. It looks phenomenal. It looks so good. It's totally foam fab. And I'd seen pictures of it. And I thought, he put together a kit. Looks good. I was impressed. So I followed him. And one day he did a video on like putting on my 4-lom, and he basically puts the whole costume on by himself, completely by himself. And I was like, how in the hell are you doing that? And it's foam, and so he can bend a little bit more than you would typically have to, and he just puts the whole thing on, and it looks super good. And I was like, okay, I'm sold on that, because if I could do that with 3PO and it didn't have to bother anybody, because I think that's like, I hate asking people for help on things, and of course I picked the costume that requires like the most help ever. I got to have a babysitter the whole time. I mean, that's pretty much what I tell. That's going to be my coin. I might make a patch or a coin so that when random people help me do the droid, it's going to be like, I babysat C-3PO. I think that'd be a good one to give out to anybody who helps me with the droid suit. But yeah, it's like it requires a babysitter the whole time, and the person has to be there, like close by, making sure you don't crash out and like have fall in a fountain or something. But just hire me as your dresser. I would. I've hired dressers before. Actually, what's my friend William that I was talking about that did the Vader thing, I hired him as a dresser I did these ESPN commercials, and we went to Connecticut, and I got William hired to be my dresser for that, and it was real fun. We got to go to like the ESPN like headquarters, and it was during the what was it? Last Jedi? Was it Last Jedi or or Rise of Skywalker. I can't remember which one. Which is the one that had Dio, that little robot, the little conehead robot that looks like the Spy versus Spy characters from Mad Magazine. They had Dio, and like this, the Dio our remote control one that they had was made by Legacy Effects, and it was like looked good, but man, it was like so slow. So they had Dio, the BB-8 there, and um, the BB-8 was like one of the the official like appearance BB-8, so that was really cool. And it had Chewbacca, like the official Lucasfilm appearance. Chewbacca was there for the commercial, and the suit was just like updated for the sequel film. So I had that like the hair was a little bit lighter, and it was like not quite the same fur as the original Chewbacca, but still kind of like original face. And so yeah, anyway, that whole thing was real cool. But brought William out to be my wrangler, and man, I told him, he's like, "What do you charge?" I'm like, "I don't know, this much," and he goes, "Okay," and then he told them almost the same price. Like he got as much doing the wrangler as I got for being 3PO. I think he got like almost the exact same amount within like $100 or something. It was crazy. I was like, "Oh man, well you just really asked them." And the thing is, they were like, "Yeah, that's fine." Which means that I probably could have asked for way more money for doing the 3PS stuff. But that was a fun gig, just going there. And plus, like from Florida and going to Connecticut, and it was snowing there when we were there, which was cool because I didn't grow up with a lot of snow. I didn't see snow at all until I was about 20, so I was excited. And now where I live, it actually the first year I moved out here, it snowed at my house. It was crazy. I was like, oh my god. So I live up in the high desert now, and I'm in LA County, but like way up here, and we got snow. There's snow actually almost. I thought it was gonna snow today, and the mountains all around us got some snow, and that's beautiful. But yeah, grow up no snow. When I got to see it, it was pretty exciting. So snowed on that trip to Connecticut for the Star Wars shoot. Let's see. I also want to make a coin for my handler, the challenge coin. I was no good at design creation, dude. Let me know, cause if you want something, if I get a chance, I can maybe like bang something out. Did you see the medals I did for that race? I don't know who produces them, but there's someone that like can actually produce the coins, and I think you can give them a file and they can just make them. They're not as expensive as I expected them to be. Like when I found out how much they were, like that's actually kind of cheap. And if I got like 200 of them made at once, it's the price is not bad. Uh, I drove through some snow this evening. No, was it snowing on your way back? Because when I came home today, it looked like it was raining, but it looked like there was a little bit of snow flurry mixed in with the rain. Was it like Acton area, or like when you past Aqua Dulce or whatever, and you hit that high point? That's kind of was like almost to the AV, like like when you're on the 14 and you have that last curve when you come into Antelope Valley. I was right there, and it would look like mixed rain and some flurries. It's simple enough. I can mill them. Oh, that's cool. Oh, you're gonna like do them that way. I see what you're saying. That's cool. I was gonna have mine pressed by some company. Like there's places that can just like bang out like 100 of them at a time or something, and they just have like a stamp, and then some of them will do like that enamel where they'll colorize them. I don't know if I would do that. I kind of I'm a fan of just metal stuff, like no paint. But some of those challenge coins that are painted, they look good sometimes, if they're done right, if they're tastefully done. Sometimes it's too much, but I don't mind it. Oh my God, made it that far. In Angeles Forest, it was flooring. Whoa! Oh, you drove. That's right, because you always cut through. Um, Yeah, I believe that. I saw a little tiny bit on the way, and it was raining pretty good on my way home from town. I drove in. I probably was driving in at about 3:15 or 3:30, and I started to drive back, and then a 14 looked like I hit Santa Clarita, and I could, that when you come over the hill and you could just see way down, and it's just like so much traffic. So I got off at Newhall Ranch, and then just took the Sierra Highway. I sound like an episode of the Californians. You got the 405 to the 101. Um, but yeah, I took Sierra Highway all the way to like right outside of Antelope Valley, and right after I got back on the 14 is when I saw the little bit of flurry mix. The mountains are real pretty, like to the north, all up there is all that snow dusted everything. It looks nice. Again, Florida guy, snow is cool for me. I can do 3D reliefs. Yeah, dude, that's cool. There's I don't know if you've seen in ZBrush. There's a thing that you can do like you can make reliefs out of like any model and it'll like flatten them, so you get like a sort of like a coin look, like it's and that's pretty awesome too. Do you have a mill? Do you have like a CNC machine? All right, I'm changing levels here. What time is it? Probably gonna do maybe like a couple more minutes because I started a little bit late. Let's go crazy. Let's see what this one is. Um, Whoa. I think I saw this one. Started a little late because I had to set my audio up. So I'm going to go for a few more minutes here, but then I'm going to try to get back in and get some modeling done. This level's too big. I don't like this. CNC mill is the Carvera Carvera Air desktop mill with a 4th axis. I'm still learning cam software though. Oh, that's pretty cool. Nick Burns. Whoop. What just happened? Did it just like leave you out of the map wherever you're at? Yeah, I always wanted to get a CNC mill. They seem very, 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 very handy for a lot of stuff that I like to make. All right, let's see if I can get back in the map. I don't even know if I'm going the right direction. Oh, I see. There's the place. Oh, look, I'm back. Oh, this looks boring. It's like someone's house. Cool. All right. Oh yeah, I remember this one. Garbage truck. Make one of my garbage truck delivery videos. Oh, all right, crashed it out. Yeah, CNC mill is the thing that's been high on my list. I kind of got to make a space in my shop for it. And I don't know if I mentioned this the other day, but I got contacted by a shop in town about being like an in-house like digital artist, and I tried to meet with the guy today, but he didn't get my first message. And when I wrote him again, I was like trying to leave after seeing my friend in the hospital, and we didn't end up meeting up. So I'm probably going to meet up next week sometime. Oh wow, look at this. But I might be in town working a bunch, making stuff for the movies, and TV, whatever. But the shop makes really cool stuff, a lot of films. I feel like I should go do a look and see some of the stuff they've worked on. But it'd be real cool because I think I mentioned this the other day, but I think in his mind I'll probably be doing like 3D scan cleanup and maybe like turning scans into molds and stuff like that. But I can also do animatronics design, and I would love to get in on some of that action if I could. So we'll see. But I feel like once I'm in there, I can be like, hey, let me engineer all this stuff, and I think he would let me. But I don't know. I don't want to bank on it. He's offered me stuff before, and he's kind of hard to reach. So we'll see. We'll see. I can't wait till you can scan your legs and get them printing. Jesse's are great, but I need more accurate looking. I have some scans of mine that are that I literally was just about to start cleaning up, and I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but the my friend Sydney just bought a new scanner, and it's better than the one that I used. Again, I think with the legs, it's not a huge deal because the shapes are pretty simple, so getting the cleanup and stuff isn't horrible off of my scans, but would not hurt to have a better scan to start with. So I was gonna try to meet up with him today, but he was working, so I didn't get to. But I will probably one way or the other, whether I get them rescanned or not, I'll probably be starting on them. Uh, what is today? Thursday? Maybe tomorrow. Um, and then it's a lot of work because the knees and stuff. On like the castings I have are, one generation away from a real suit. But that said, when they were done in like the mid '90s, and the people who did them kind of did them in a hurry, and they ran the castings they're really good. About 96% of them are really good, and then there's some spots that just need some help, like something like the mold wasn't seated correctly, and there's like a little part that's a little warped, or like the teeth that go over the knees are like got dents in them because they didn't get the key to sit right. And you can see everything else is like great, but I have to fix those stupid things, which is fine. And I think what I'm gonna do is like remodel the knee joints in Fusion, bring them into ZBrush, and then make sure everything's really, really correct so that the side discs are really nice. And I'm not going to do the thing of, they're going to print, the side discs are going to print separately, and they're going to like key on the proper way. And just so stuff is easy to print on like an FDM printer without having, as little cleanup as possible. Like I don't like when you have print lines that cross across circles that are supposed to look a certain way. If I have to print like a disc, it's going to look nice. I'm going to try to print that as a separate piece and attach it if I can when I'm doing 3D prints. That's just what I prefer. I'd rather print something in like 15 pieces and have all you know, the orientation of the prints be better than print it in like one piece and have to like nightmarish clean up through a bunch of tiny little details because the print lines go against the actual lines in the costume. That just does not sound very fun. So yeah, anyway, that's what I'm trying to do. But one way or another, I'm going to try to get this thing started. Like I'm very excited about having the legs for myself as well. So, and I'm going to do the set that's like true to the film set, and then I'm going to do my version because my one discrepancy in how the suit fits is that my shins from my knee to my ankle are about 2 inches longer than Anthony Daniels. The rest of me, very, very close fit. Like stuff fits me perfectly. But that part of my legs is very long. So I'm gonna extend the shins just a little tiny bit, and that'll be my version. And I may post it as well. Like it doesn't bother me if someone's got it, but it's just I'll probably do the correct version because I want to do a statue version for myself eventually that's like accurate to the films as possible. And I'll probably do a proper set of New Hope legs that have the knees will be correct because a lot of people like the New Hope look, but then they do the legs from Empire Strikes Back or Jedi, and that is lame. Even though the Empire and Jedi knees and stuff are cooler than a New Hope, but I feel like that's the thing. If you're doing a New Hope look, you gotta have New Hope legs, or else. Oh my God, what did I just do? And All right, and all right, these little targets are pretty cool. I figure if I can get used to getting turned around here and quick and flying back through them, I'll be in good shape. Let's see. My buddy Chris dabbles in animatronics. What kind of stuff does he make? Is it something cool? In regards to the comment you made about your friend being hard to get hold of, says the man with no notifications or message. No, but I have nothing against it. That's the thing is like I won't be mad about it because I totally get it. This dude is like busy, and he's in meetings and stuff all the time. So I don't blame him for whatever. It doesn't bother me. But the thing is, between all my stupid social media accounts, there's like hundreds of messages a day will come in, like literally like a couple hundred a day, and I barely have time to respond to the ones I get. So sometimes, I mean, I'll write to a friend, and then they respond, and it just gets buried, and I won't see it. Sometimes I go to write to them again, and I like see that they've responded to something I wrote to them before. I'm like, oh shit, they wrote me back like 2 weeks ago. Um, but I think because of that, I'm pretty forgiving. If someone doesn't get back to me, I'm just like, okay, it doesn't bother me. Um, if we're in the middle of like, if I'm in a job and they're hiring me to do something for them that they're on a deadline, and I'm rushing to help them get their deadline, and then they don't respond to me, and that's another thing. But at that point, it's kind of like you're on the like, the bat phone with them. Like you're on the secret list of like, here's the people that can like are free to call me, and I won't, avoid. Not that I avoid messages, but like if my phone rings in the middle of the day, I I usually don't pick it up unless I know a call. If like there's like four people that can call me, that I'll pick up the phone in the middle of the day, without having someone like say, "Hey, I'm gonna call you in a little bit," and I'll say, "Okay," and then I'll make sure that call me in 15 minutes, and I'll put all my shit down and I'll talk to you. But if the phone just rings and it's somebody, I'm just like, oh, couldn't be worse. Hey, Sassy, my cat's in here. Sassy, what are you doing? Um, so yeah, it's hard to keep it all going and not get distracted. I'm easily distracted. I know my friend Dan's like, I want a 3PO head. He wants me to do a fiberglass one, but I'm like, man, I gotta like do cleanup. I gotta fix molds. It's like expensive, and I haven't had time to do 90 freaking 9% of my own projects. So I told him like it's gonna be a while. I'm like the soonest this was like, I don't know, August of last year or something. I'm like the soonest I'd even be able to look at it would be like December, like Christmas time, if I even get to then. And he just is like all constantly like, hey man, is it gonna happen? I'm like, man, I only have so many hours in a day, so many. The ADD is real. I got it bad myself. Oh, dude, and that's the thing. It's like I love making stuff, and so it's very, very easy for me to like take on a new project. And another thing with taking on a new project is that I think one of the hardest things for me to do is start something, and then once it's going, then it's kind of going. Like even if I don't touch it for like 4 years, in my brain it's still going. I just gotta like pick it up and keep going at it. But to start it and like do those initial stages is like a weird mental challenge for me. And so whenever I get the urge to do it, I'll start a thing, and then it's going. So again, it's if I start it, set it aside, I don't come back to it for sometimes literally years. I'm like in my brain, it's still in progress and it's there, and to pick up and work on it is actually not hard to do. It's just hard to make the time to do that. But I think that's why I start so many projects. Is when I get that urge, I try to get it going so that when you have time, you can work on it. You don't have to like figure it out. Um, but I feel like that's the thing with Patreon is actually really good because stuff that I have wanted to do for a long time, it actually gives me a legitimate reason to do it, and that's really cool. There's a lot of like replica robots and stuff that I've wanted to do forever, and there's versions out there that are like they're they're okay, but every one of them I see stuff that I would change, so I'm just gonna do my version. And it's like I feel about the 3PO stuff. Like Jesse's files are very, very good, but I want one that feels like the original trilogy stuff. I want it to feel right. When I look at it, I want my brain to feel confused, like if I'm looking at the real thing. And when I see Jesse's files, they look good, but I can spot it right away. I'm like, I know they're Jesse's files, and they look great. Same thing. It's kind of like looking at a sequel suit versus a original trilogy suit. Like it's just the ease of telling the difference is kind of the same. Da-da-da! Chris has a Terminator head and a set of eyes for a puppet. He brings them to Stan Winston's school booth at Monster Palooza sometimes. Huh. I wonder... Oh, I might know Chris. Do I know Chris? I might know Chris. What's Chris's last name? He also has a mouse droid in R2 that haven't finished. I'm 99% sure I know who Chris is. He comes to R2LA. Yeah, the and back to the ADHD thing. Absolutely, totally real. And the thing is trying to be productive because right now, like with the house, we've got a bunch of company come. My wife's parents are going to be back out probably in May. My brother's coming out in May, so I'm trying to finish a ton of stuff around the house. And the kitchen is like, I don't know, 87% done, and it's just lingering. So it's at this point now where it's very usable. It looks pretty normal, but there's a lot of stuff that needs to be done still, which makes it harder to work on because now it works. So it's like, okay, it's functional. When it wasn't working, it was like massive amount of focus in there to get that going. So now, like right now, I've got the dishwasher pulled out to the middle of the room, and I'm hooking up the wires, but we've had it for a long time and it hasn't been hooked up, and I lost the stupid strain relief thing for the cable because you have to put your own power wire in there, and just this is a whole thing. So that's going. Then I got to hook up the plumbing, and when we got the house, the dishwasher and sink and everything were kind of laid out one way, and when we were getting all the stuff for the kitchen, my wife laid it out in a way that isn't really friendly with the existing plumbing. So I have to kind of like do a lot of modifications to make the stuff work, which is great. Yeah, Chris Ellerby. Yeah, he is freaking awesome. I love Chris. He's a nice guy, super nice dude. And I see him at all the Monster Paloozas. I'm gonna be at Monster Palooza this year, and V Neal is doing her vampire, whatever this convention is, like not this weekend, but next weekend, and I'll be doing a creature for that. And the guy made my teeth, and then I went all the way into town today, and then I was driving back, and I was like 2/3 of the way back here, and then I get a message from the dude doing my teeth. He's like, "Hey, can you swing by and like we can make sure these teeth fit?" I'm like, "God damn it." No. He's all out in like Thousand Oaks, and I was like, could have done it today had I known. I would have gone over there at like, 2 in the afternoon, and fuck, such a pain in the ass, man. It's like, and he's a super nice guy. The guy is really, really good at doing teeth. Like, makes some masterful stuff. So I'm pretty excited to see what he does. And I stated this the other day, but I usually get to keep my teeth after I do a thing like this. It's kind of like one of the things if I'm doing a demo and it's essentially for free. One of the things is like, can I have teeth or contact lenses? Because teeth are really, really valuable. They're expensive, super expensive to make. So if I get a set of teeth, that's good trade for me for the day. If I'm like, I want to model for a demo, give me a set of teeth that I can use for other things. Because sometimes I get jobs just because I got a bunch of teeth. Because they're like, it saves another artist of work. They don't have to make the things. They don't have to cast my mouth. They don't have to sculpt. Saves a ton of time. So if I got a good variety, that's in my favor. I just bounced off the ground. But yeah, dude, Chris Ellerby is awesome, and he's worked with Stan Winston for a long time. I did. I think actually, let me see. I'm wearing my Magic wheelchair shirt. I don't know if you guys can see that. I I did that in a few years ago, 2018 maybe, and that was real fun. And I did the one we did. I did with Michael McMaster, and but Stan Winston School did one, and it was pretty neat. And when we did that, they gave us a license for SolidWorks. Like the company that does SolidWorks gave us a license for SolidWorks as like a kind of like a gift for doing this wheelchair thing. And the thing is, the computer I had at the time could not run SolidWorks. I mean, it would open, it could run it, but I would get like immediate warnings about the memory usage on my computer immediately when I opened it. I didn't even have a file open or anything. Just opening the program and be like, this crazy pop up. And the computer I'm on now would be able to handle it, but at the time I was like never got to use it. I got to see if the license would still work. I think it was like a like a student license, but I don't know if they expire or not, or if I could still I don't know if I could still use it. I never got to use it, and I always wanted to have that kind of in the tool bag, just so I could when I was working with a place that used SolidWorks, I could pop in and like at least get by in there. Um, and I'm also thinking about plasticity. I don't know if you guys have ever used plasticity for 3D modeling, but it looks really freaking powerful and pretty easy to manipulate from what I can tell. And you own it, so you can buy the program and then you have it. And it's good for like, till the next major update, and then you still get to keep the one you've got. So if you get sick of using it or whatever, you take a break, it's not a subscription, and if you never update it, you can still at least use the old version, which should be able to get you by for a lot of things. Um, anyway, I would like to get a suite of plasticity. Some of the like semi-organic kind of shapes look really easy to make in that program versus like Fusion. And I have this thing where I'm always going back and forth between ZBrush and Fusion, and there's like a little middle ground area where I always am not quite sure. Like if I could do it in Fusion, then I could really control certain tolerances better. But I could sculpt it faster in ZBrush. It's hard. It's hard to deal with. Yeah, Chris is super good. I'm pretty sure he finished one of those mouse droids. I think he had like a ton of weird like bells and whistles on it because it R2LA a couple years ago. I'm pretty sure he had a mouse droid there that was like working, and it had like crazy sound effects and stuff on it. It was like ridiculous in a good way. If it's his, I'm thinking of. I'm pretty sure it was his. I actually I've wanted to build a mouse droid for years, and I have. Just the other day when I was going through all my old stuff, I was looking for my reference photos for my EV99, and I found all of my mouse droid files, and it's kind of the same thing where like the actual outer files are really good, and the inner files are really good too, but I just want to do my own version. So I was going to try to print the shell and then start working out the guts for it and go from there. There's a lot of like reasonably priced RC cars online that I figured I could like kind of take apart and use when I need to use. But we'll see. We'll see. He also made one with skewered porg. Yes, yeah. The porg one. That's right. That one was funny. That was really funny. And it had like a really loud sound system in it. Supercross. I saw that one. TDA. Let's see. They're always every time I come to this thing, it seems like there's new boards everywhere. Uh-oh. Did I just freeze? That's weird. Oh, there it goes. Kind of like lagged for a second. Look at this. This looks like the President Castaic. It was actually really close to where I shot yesterday. There's a bunch of tents. Can I fly through there? Oh my god. I skipped through it. That was cool. Yeah, Chris is great. This level is junk, but I'm going to try to explore real quick, and then, oh my god. I'll do one more pass, and then I'm gonna call it because I gotta get to some serious work. And I posted a video. I'm doing um, my 2-piece versions of the 3PO shorts. Almost done. I could probably post them as is, and they'd be okay. But I'm gonna do 2 versions. One that is like the way that I would use them, and then one that is more like the Cal Pierce vacuum formed versions. The way the sides are, they're just totally straight, like from like the back and the front curve around instead of them curving in and like overlapping each other. They just kind of like go straight into each other. I make that sound way more confusing than it really is, but uh, I feel like that's useful for some people. So yeah. Anyway, all right. I'm skipping out of this. I better get out of here. Yes, exit session. I'll go back over here, and we're back. Oh my gosh, still got my freaking hospital sticker on. That was weird. I'm gonna put this. I feel like I should save it. March 6th, 2025. Anyway, you can see the bags in my eyes. Look at this. Looking sleepy. Looking sleepy. But yeah. Anyway, all right. I'm getting out of here. If I'm ZBrushing and I'm in a groove, I'll just pop back on so I can chat while I ZBrush. But we're trying to get some stuff done here. Be productive. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. I'll be back in 2 days with more drone pilot fun times. What is today? Thursday? Saturday. That'll be my last day of being the age I am before my birthday. My birthday's Sunday.